Hey everybody, so I'm in Proverbs 6, Economic Entitlements, reading from the Tree of Life version. So I'm going to dive right in and a little bit for commentary, but I'm on a tight schedule today, so I'm going to try to get through it quick. My son, if you have become a co-signer for your neighbor, if you have shaken hands and pledged with a stranger, if you are trapped by your own words, ensnared by the words of your mouth, then do this, my son, and free yourself. Since you fell into your neighbor's hand, go humble yourself. Plead with your neighbor, allow no sleep to your eyes, nor slumber to your eyelids. Escape like a gazelle from the hunter's hand, like a bird from the snare of the fowler. So on this portion, if we can relate this to present day, if you have debt, if you have a lot of financial commitments that are keeping you stuck, when you're a co-signer, or meaning you are using your credit to help another person, or you yourself are stuck with credit card debt because you're in a pledge with a credit card company, you're in a pledge with a loan, you're in a pledge with a person for a private loan. All of these things make us slaves to our overspending, our being vague about money, etc. It's saying humble yourself and plead with your neighbor, plead with the person that you have this arrangement with, and escape it. So do whatever you can to create a plan of action to pay off your debt. And all of this is part of the devil's scheme to keep you stuck, so that you cannot be a provider for other people, because you're stuck in your poverty, you're stuck in your not having enough, you're stuck in your overspending on credit cards instead of having the money available. And a lot of this does go back to tithing as well. And just on this note, personally, I have been a person that, when I have a lot of flowing income in, then I would definitely be, portioning off that 10% for tithing, and then saving that money in several different ways. Some of it would be liquid in cash, and some of it would be in accounts, and some of it might be in, furniture, or heirlooms, or whatever, jewelry, etc. And so I had diversified my money over time. But when I got involved with my fiance, who was not being honest with me, he definitely took my assets and he spent them and used them. And unfortunately, it was for drugs. Little did I know that this was going on, but my point is that it put me in a position of at the mercy of having to use credit cards. Another time in my life, as I was trying to recuperate from that for the past couple years, I went in with a co-signer with someone else to assist me in repairing my credit, because they had really good credit, and this was a goal to up level my own credit. And again, that was the grace and mercy of that other person, but at the same time, there was a consistency in me paying on things, and paying more than the minimum payment and that sort of thing. But then when catastrophe hit and the circumstances hit, in terms of I experienced several floods last year, I was in school, and the grant that I was expecting for living expenses did not come in, so some of those things were put on a credit card. And so what I'm getting at is, when people don't keep their word to you and their agreements to you, and in this case it was organizations, then I was left with relying on my emergency plan, which was a credit card, and then having, now at this point, those early percentage, 0% for so many months, are now at the point where it's now the percentage is racking up. And although I've cut down a lot of those expenses, there still was a balance. So having a balance, it's you want to be in a goal to pay off that balance, and you want to be in a goal to humble yourself and figure out, what methods are you going to use? A side hustle? Are you going to sell things and liquidate certain assets that you have? Are you going to get a part-time job? Are you going to start a different business, etc.? So, making, you're getting out of debt and being in integrity and honoring your word is the way to go. I did end up applying for a loan, and as a result received that loan, and I'm still waiting for some of this paperwork in the mail until it's finalized. But the point is that when you get an opportunity where you can get a new credit card or new kind of loan that gives you 0% for 18 months, if you know how to be strategic, then you can roll that debt that you have that's on a higher percentage rate, let's say like 24%, then you can roll that over to a credit card that has 0% for 18 months. And then that helps you to be able to be paying on the amount that you have and not all the extra accrued interest from the high credit card rates. So it's just to be mindful of what those things are. Okay, so laziness and perversity. Moving on. Proverbs 6. Go to the ant, you slacker, consider its ways and be wise. It has no commander, no overseer or ruler, yet it prepares its provisions in summer and gathers its food at harvest. How long will you lie there, slacker, when you will get up from your sleep? A little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep, and your poverty comes like a bandit, and your need like an armed man. A scoundrel. Wait, so let me stop there. So this idea of not being prepared, and it's, parallel to being lazy and by not being prepared. So if you look at the ant is always gathering food and preparing for the winter months. So in order to do that, that means that they're doing a lot of work in the summer, and then in the fall they're gathering all the provisions so that they can withstand the tiresome winter. So the question is, are you prepared? Do you have extra food? Do you have extra water? Do you have extra heat supplies? Do you have extra clothes for the colder months? Are you prepared for when electricity goes out, or when there's a snowstorm and the roads are closed? Like, are you prepared to be able to be sustainable? And when you're talking about in van life, obviously you can't prepare to a huge volume like you can in a house, but do you have a couple canned goods that will get you through a couple weeks? That's the question. A scoundrel, a wicked man, is one who goes around with a perverse mouth, winking his eyes, shuffling his feet, pointing his fingers, who continually plots evil with deceit in his heart, stirring up strife. Therefore his disaster will come suddenly. In an instant he will be broken with no remedy. So on this thing about wickedness in the perversity, in sexual immorality, in flirtations, in having deceit in your heart, meaning like you are actively doing things that are displeasing to God. Like if someone is a married person, you shouldn't be trying to seek that person as your mate if they're married. You shouldn't be flirting with people just because you want to flirt with them when you yourself are in a committed relationship. So it's like a wicked person is going to always want more.